And can I do a Chrome tab? Yes, I can do that. There we go. Cool. And we are live.
Okay, so nice to have you all today, guys. So today we have two amazing speakers. So GQ from LTV Plus, James Lyon from LoyaltyLion, and Louis from Gorgias. And today, the goal of this webinar is to talk about retention, loyalty, and customer service. To be honest, to be transparent today, these three topics are first topics if you want to have a successful e-commerce strategy. And the goal of this webinar for you the goal for us is to help you to leave this webinar with some best practice you can implement very easily on your business. So we will have three presentations, GQ first, then LoyaltyLion, and to finish with Gorgias. So yes, GQ, I give you the micro and we can start.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So yeah, I think in the interest of time, because I know we have this slated for at least another 30 minutes or 45 minutes, so I'll do my best to keep this short. I promise I will not blaze through it for some of you who know that I have a tendency to do that. But yeah, besides that, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Emojis go a long way, like I mentioned just now while we were waiting. So I think, feel free to just drop those in there. Really glad to be sharing the stage with James and Louis. LoyaltyLion, Gorgias, really great tech partners to be working with. So to keep things short, I think the buzzword is, well, there are a few words. There's I'll save the loyalty bit for LoyaltyLion. Obviously, they're the experts at that. When it comes to exceptional customer service and retention, I think we're very aligned with what Gorgias brings to the table in terms of technologies and where we can, what we've seen in terms of providing customer service in 2021. So there are four things that we're going to be talking about. The first one is the consideration for omnichannel customer service. So today, the point is we want to make sure that we're able to interact with customers across different channels as they want to interact with you, right? Some of the most popular ones you're thinking about probably are like email, chat, maybe phone support, right? If some of you are still doing phone support today, which is obviously helpful depending on your demographics. I think outside of that, there's also the need to understand, what other channels are there? Are you connecting all of them together on one platform? And I think that's where obviously, help desk like Gorgias is very helpful because, we're able to see the entire history of a conversation or interaction with the customer in one place. And that goes a long way when it comes to retention and providing exceptional customer service. So just what we've discovered, at least for the past year or so, what are the popular choices for communication? So the first one is live chat, and that's like a huge chunk, 42%. After that, that's followed by email, social media, so like Facebook Messenger, and then recently more so with Instagram DMs, right? And of course, you have other channels like SMS, phone, and SMS is obviously taking off really, really well as well. So how do you implement this? Well, the first step is to obviously use an omnichannel help desk like Gorgias if you aren't already doing so. And when you have that, you have to think about what other channels have you not considered, because when you have all those channels integrated into one platform, that makes it a lot easier. You might think that, okay, hey, you might not be able to take on the chats because your team is tight. Your team is limited, and you can only take on email support because that buys you more time. But you can also consider, maybe is that an investment that you'd like to consider, investing in, simply because you might possibly be missing out on possible sales opportunities through live chat, which we'll talk about very shortly, or the ability to provide real-time customer service versus waiting for an hour, 2 hours, 12 hours to get back to someone. And of course, outside of that, make sure that you have a team that's sort of scalable, because, we understand that, Black Friday, Cyber Mondays, when that comes, how do you get like 5 or 10 agents? So probably ideally you want to have some part-timers in standby, people that you train beforehand, or you work with an outsourcing partner as well. But besides that, we want to talk a little bit more about the activities, like what can you do, right? So we talk about proactive engagement for a start. Now, this is a 50-50 when it comes to engaging with customers in your stores, right? You want to think about, okay, if I were to throw on live chat, would that irritate customers? Would that cause problems with their overall shopping experience? Now, we've seen with much success, thankfully, that a lot of a simple live chat pop-up could help increase conversion rates, right? When you the pop-up, sorry, let me take a step back. When you engage with the customer through chat and answering their doubts, recommending the right product that people are looking for, I think that's a really good way to obviously help convert customers better or visitors. And so you're looking at the possibility of responding to conversations in less than 30 seconds. You're looking at getting CSAT ratings of like 95%. So these are benchmarks that we're obviously shooting for. And obviously, you're able to take on more chats as a result because you can do it concurrently versus working on one ticket at a time, and kind of like waiting for that to pan out. So activating live chat alone is just one start. That's kind of like a reactive setup where people can just reach out to you, and we'll talk about automation down the line. But on top of that, you can trigger pop-ups at specific moments, right? So for example, if people are about to bounce off your checkout page, or they bounce off a product, it's sort of like a simple product, like a pair of jeans, for example, and you're having a bounce time of like a minute, 45 seconds or so. And if just like that 10, 15 seconds before you were to pop in and say, hey, I saw you checking this out. Did you have any questions about sizing or colors or shipping, etc.? Just you being able to present yourself there, kind of like creating the in-store experience, but virtually. That extends, you're extending a helping hand up front, and customers do appreciate that, right? But it's not just, hey, having your customer service agents do that. On top of that, you're also looking at having pre-sales agents that are well trained to close the sales once they jump into a conversation like that. On top of boxes, this is a good chance for you to possibly consider having two-way SMS conversation or a phone call with people who are, whose credit cards are getting declined, and you just reaching out to cut through the noise, because everyone's receiving a lot of emails, and so they might miss some stuff like that, and they will wonder like, hey, why is my box not coming through? Or they might not check it, and so just reaching out has actually helped with more than 50% recovery rate. On top of that, if you already have other tools to engage with for SMS automation to recover abandoned carts, it's great. But having someone actually respond to those SMSs, that's also a good thing to have that two-way conversation, so people understand that, hey, you really care about the customer service, you really care about the overall customer experience, to engage with them and actually help them find out or tweak the subscriptions as needed, or perhaps add products to your so-called about to abandon cart to help them through the final stages of sales. And obviously, these are low-hanging fruits that you can tap into, and you can pretty much get 3 to 8 times your ROI immediately when you look at these areas. So having two-way SMS applications that you can link to your Omnichannel help desk. You can also set up a call center app to make phone calls as needed. But of course, this is a 50-50 again. We're not sure if phone calls actually make sense depending on the demographics. And just to quickly skim through the last two parts, we're talking about a self-service piece as well, where 90% of consumers say that they expect to have a self-service portal open because they're not necessarily interested to talk to customer support. And so having that available, where you have a public knowledge base that people can go through, or simply clicking in the bottom and finding out like, hey, where's my order? And it comes through. That's also a possibility. And having how-to content, FAQ section that are up to date to help tackle the self-service piece. And finally, the agent experience, right? Because you have your team members that are supporting customer service. How do you make sure that your agents are well equipped to take care of things, right? So you want to make sure that you have a help desk that's able to keep track of all your customers' data, understanding what are the touch points that they've had with your brand and interactions, and also the in terms of the notes that might have been left behind, and what are touch points, right? So you want to make sure that your help desk can do that, and also that there's continuous training, and also that you're able to personalize conversations at scale. So this could be, for example, where you have macros that are popping out depending on the conversations and sentiments that come up, that you're able to get recommendations on how to respond to people during peak periods by using macros that are suggested through AI. And of course, finally, just making sure that your documentation is in place, and that you have FAQs and SOPs in place to tackle everything. The final one that I think is really interesting to round this off is, consider also empowering your agents to prioritize customer outcomes over KPIs. So what that means is, well, as much as you're looking to reduce, response time, you're looking to reduce, to increase CSAT, right? But what is the ultimate goal? Or as I think I've recently come across this term, like, you know, we've been talking about OKRs, for example. What's the ultimate goal for the agents? And so that way they would be able to think on their feet to address those concerns. And with that, that's pretty much it to sum this up, in terms of what you should consider for customer service in 2021. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to just drop them right in. I'll be happy to answer them.
Cool. Thank you, GQ. Are you still controlling the presentation, or is it being handed over to you?
Yes, I am. Let me just kill that, and so you can take over that if you like.
Oh, no. Yeah, I'll bring it up.
Okay.
Perfect.
So guys, we will have a Q&A part at the end of the presentation. So at the end of the presentation, we will choose a winner and we will have a Q&A part. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask your question in the chat. And this way, at the end, I will read the questions to make sure we provide good answers for you. So James, your turn. I switch off my...
Thank you. Sorry about trying to turn my camera on. It's, for whatever reason, the WeWork I'm in does not seem to like this system, and it was jumping around. So it was not a good look, and I'm not going to allow anyone to take any screenshots of my paused or frozen face. So just to quickly introduce myself, so I'm James, Director of Customer Success at LoyaltyLion. And what we're going to cover briefly today, given the time, is how to maximize loyalty and retention using a loyalty program. Effectively, how to differentiate yourself with loyalty. So what we're going to cover, just a brief look back at 2020 and 2021 in terms of e-commerce, how you can use loyalty to combat e-commerce challenges, and some tips based on what we've discussed. So those of you who don't know, LoyaltyLion is a data-driven customer loyalty and engagement platform. We've just actually hit over 10,000 merchants worldwide using our software. That happened about 2 days ago, so very, very exciting. We work with some really amazing, a variety of different verticals, including Overtone, Chive, Cupshe, Astronomy, some incredible brands with an average return on investment of £15 for every £1 spent. That's us. I'm not in sales. That's the end of the pitch. E-commerce in 2021. So obviously there was a pandemic, which hit different industries in different ways, but e-commerce boomed. It's been reckoned that e-commerce has been pushed forward 5 years in the last 6 months. But the challenges that we're facing in e-commerce today and e-commerce in the last year are the challenges we're going to continue to face moving forward. They're not going to go away. What has happened across the board and what we'll cover today is customers have more power. They have more power to choose the brands that they brands that they purchase from. There's more information available online. And now with more and more brands moving online, that competition has only increased. So you need to differentiate. As GQ is saying, differentiation through CX is absolutely vital. The customer needs to have a fantastic experience on your store. But they also need to be emotionally connected with your brand, not just your product. There's an expectation for incredible customer service and incredible customer experience. You can't get away with slow loading times on pages anymore. And your customer service needs to have fully enriched data so they understand the customer that they're speaking to so they can provide the appropriate level of service. Finally, the cost of acquisition has significantly increased. There's more and more players in the market, but it's the same pool of customers that you're competing from. And with the privacy changes on Apple and Google coming later this year, it's only going to get harder. So it's imperative that you maximize the LTV, so the lifetime value of every customer you acquire. And one of the ways to do that is through loyalty, why I'm here. So using rewards to maximize loyalty and retention. So there's 4 pieces here that we're going to discuss. I'm going to show you some examples from our amazing clients. First one is a feeling of accumulation and aspiration. It's one word really to sum this up. It's gamification. With loyalty, you are gamifying the shopping experience. You're motivating people, not just with purchasing your product, but the experience of being on your store. So 74% of consumers are motivated by working towards a goal or a reward. And you're basically challenging them to spend more and engage more with your brand. Examples of that are points for more than just purchases. Typical programs like your coffee shop type program, where you buy 9 coffees, you get the 10th for free, don't cut it. There's not a degree of differentiation that you need. So Lucy and Yak here, who some of you may know, they're a UK-based clothing brand, one of our favorite clients. I will say that about every client I talk about throughout this presentation. But they're not just incentivizing you to purchase, they're incentivizing and signing up to the mailing list, providing you with that all-important accept marketing flag in Shopify or wherever you work. They're incentivizing social follows, referrals, and happy birthday. So birthdays are a particularly good, really good way of engaging with your customers because it's more of an emotional human interaction, which is really going to help them emotionally connect with you as a brand. Instant gratification and rewards, kind of the opposite spectrum of the birthday reward, only happens once a year, is the instant gratification. You're giving someone a buzz when they visit your site, which is a fantastic way to keep them coming back for that buzz. Next one is a feeling of exclusivity. If you could remember way back when we were allowed out, back in like 2019, and you went to a club and you saw a velvet rope or you saw a hidden VIP area, regardless of what was on the other side of that rope or on the other side of that door, you wanted to be there. That's what we want to create with a loyalty program. Consumers are motivated to join a program that offers exclusive rewards, benefits, basically things that the normal average consumer cannot access. How do we do that? Members only promotions. So we all run promotions, we all run sales. But what you can do is you can offer exclusive promotions. You make a customer feel like they're the most important person to you at that moment, and they are, by saying, right, our sale starts in 24 hours, but here you have an extra 24 hours access, go spend. Not only does it increase the value of that customer, but it increases their loyalty towards you because you're showing an emotional relationship with them. Tiered loyalty programs. So anyone can join a program and just create an account. That's one level of engagement. But the next level of engagement is tiers. Tiers are aspirational. You want what's in the next tier. What a lot of our customers are doing, which I really love, is they're offering tier exclusive products. So if I'm in the top tier, T3 here, tier 3 of the Pulse Boutique here, I get access to a specific product which no one else gets access to. That's going to incentivize someone to spend not just $250, but $600 to maybe get access to a product which is worth $40 to $50. So you're getting them to spend more whilst rewarding them for being loyal to you and providing exclusivity, which is what's going to drive them to the top tier. The natural extension of that is VIP tiers. So this is for your sort of true high flyers, for Americans, Amex Black Card, for those in the UK, the Nando's Black Card, I think they're like roughly equivalent. This is where your most loyal customers will go, the highest spenders. And it's an incredible way. It's marketing, which you don't even really have to do because your customers, once they know about it, will talk about it. A really useful example of a reward here is a client of ours with a fairly high AOV. When you're in the top tier, the VIP hidden tier, you get flown to wherever the CEO is in the world, and you can go meet him for lunch and talk through the brand. They have a very high AOV, so they can, but that kind of similar vibe, that reward which no one else can get, incentivizes people to engage further with your brand. A personalized customer experience, absolutely vital. 78% of consumers are motivated by being recognized as an individual. They want to emotionally connect with you, not just on a product level, but they want to engage with your brand. 65% influenced by personalized offers and 61% by personalized product recommendations. What does this mean for you? How can you first generate this and then use that to increase the loyalty of your customers? Firstly, and really simply, unique loyalty emails. You've got some fantastic ESPs out there which allow you to send out really personalized emails, and LoyaltyLion in particular enriches these ESPs with a huge amount of customer data, which you can then use to really personalize your emails. So the Braille Bra Club here is very simple. They've just got the number of points the customer has available to spend, but they also include in here personalized shopping recommendations. So it's truly an individual experience. These loyalty emails generally perform 5 times better than standard marketing emails. And that is because of the personalization. So the cost of your impression here is much lower because they're much more likely to engage. An integrated loyalty program. So back before the pandemic, you saw a lot of pop-up related programs, which were generic, which were simple, and were easy to implement. And because they did the job, they stayed. What we've seen a lot of since, I suppose in the last 12 months, is our customers wanting a white labeled, truly on-brand loyalty page. And it's what we've been highly recommending. This page is the opportunity to communicate with your highest value clients. These are the ones who are going to really ensure that you have maximize the LTV of your customer. They look gorgeous. You can really personalize them. And another advantage of a static personalized loyalty program is that you can send this in marketing. So your loyal customers, their impression of you is this page. Bonus points on particular products and collections. This is a really simple one, but you know what your customers want. If you incentivize the purchase of those specific products, they're going to think, well, they know what I want. I'm not just a number to them, I'm a customer who they care about, and you incentivize them to spend more whilst increasing their attitudinal loyalty towards you. Finally, it's a feeling of trust. So a feeling of trust is very important with purchasing nowadays. Everything is done online, so people need to be able to get over that pain point of buying. They need to know what your product is. They need to know your brand. One of the main ways you can do that is via reviews. So you can incentivize your already loyal customers to produce reviews. 65-70% of consumers nowadays, when going to purchase a product online, they will search out the reviews. She read a really interesting article this morning, which I'll share, post either on LinkedIn or in the chat, which was a study of fashion brands, some with loyalty programs, some without. On average, they found the brands with loyalty programs, their reviews were 10 to 15% more positive. And even though the ones without a loyalty program weren't always negative, they saw a much higher recurrence of words like harder, difficult to choose, and sort of words around the difficulty of buying. Reviews reduce that pain of buying. Referrals, you've got your wonderfully loyal customers. How do you then monetize them further? You monetize them further by leveraging their connections. If they trust you, you can then use them to acquire customers of a similar ilk. Not only does the trust you build in the program incentivize further referrals, because people need to trust that they can put their reputation on the line when they refer you, but it also decreases your cost of acquisition because you've already acquired the customer getting the referral, and given that traditional costs of modes of acquisition are getting more expensive, referrals are a really good way to generate more income. And the last but not least, probably the most important, a feeling of brand affinity. 68% of consumers are motivated by brands that share the same values as them, which means you're not going to be able to compete with the big players on price or on logistics, but on brand, you are the winners there. You have the power to generate that really powerful brand, which the big players do not. How do you do that? I mean, really simply, make a really good first impression. So the welcome email you send is absolutely vital. Anne-Marie Gianni here. This is a really nice example because it looks like a standard marketing email, but they have personalized it. So they talk a lot about the environment here, which is something that's a big part of their brand. The text is very much on brand. Just the way it looks is very much on brand to their site, whilst referencing the values that they are important to them and to their consumer. Natural extension of that is rewards that reflect brand values. This is Pacifica Beauty here, another one of my favorite clients. They have a preserve recycling program. You are incentivized to recycle, which is a big part of Pacifica, a vegan skincare brand's ethos, and also a big part of their consumers' ethos. That's why they shop at Pacifica. So they're reinforcing that brand loyalty. And communities of like-minded people. So I'm a member of the Glamnetic Facebook group. And what's amazing about it is how little it's curated. The consumer curates it. And it's a really powerful tool for you as a brand because one, it's a place for customers who've not yet purchased but need help making the decision to come and learn more about your product and understand what's going on and reduce that buying pain. But 2, it links your brand to a customer's social life. And if you are part of their social circle because of the community you provide, they become increasingly sticky. You're much more likely to retain them and increase their LTV. So that's all well and good, but how do you do it? So these are a few post-launch tips for you once you've launched your program. Number 1, ensure it's aligned with your business goals. If your loyalty program is not aligned with what the overall business is doing, it will not succeed. Make sure it's aligned with your retention strategy. So loyalty is an integral part of your retention strategy, but it's not the only part of your retention strategy. Use your loyalty program, your CSM here at LoyaltyLion, or whichever provider you're with, to identify acquisition opportunities and ensure you've set clear performance KPIs. Be seen. Sounds obvious, but advertise. Advertise the program. It needs a proper launch. It needs maintenance. If you're a social-heavy program, tease it on socials. We've seen Couture Club in Manchester produced an absolutely stunning video of the loyalty launch, and they posted it and they teased it on Instagram, and they've seen huge success with the program. Banners, social media, email, on-site, be seen. Integrate everywhere. So I've mentioned ESPs as a really good way to generate interest in your loyalty program. Review platforms are just as important. Subscription platforms, because loyalty programs are number 1, are a fantastic way of incentivizing customers to start subscriptions. But 2, it's great to maintain those subscription customers by also offering points, also offering rewards. And finally, customer support, and given the company, absolutely vital. If your customer support teams know who the customer is, they can ensure that the customer has the appropriate experience for the type of customer they are, the tier they're in, and who they are. And finally, and most importantly, don't set it and forget it. Throughout this presentation from myself and the other speakers, we'll talk a lot about iteration. So iterating on what you've already provided. Don't just rest on your laurels when you've set up a beautiful program. Ensure that your KPIs are tracking well. Regular optimization. Your consumers change. The season changes. If you're a very seasonal brand, the program that works out of season versus in season is different. And finally, A/B testing rules and rewards. So I think to sum up, it's absolutely vital to differentiate yourself from your competitors. The way that you do that, and the most powerful weapon you have in your arsenal, is your brand. And loyalty is how you communicate your brand and increase the LTV of your consumer. And I think Q&A at the end, you said, and that's me. And I've stopped share.
So thanks so much, James. So maybe we will keep the Q&A part for the end. So I know we were a bit late, so I will try to sum up most of my presentation. This way we will have more time for the Q&A and for the little surprise. So first, I will share my screen. So Windows, path. Can you see my screen? Yes. Okay, because I can't see you now. Is it okay? Okay. So, James, is it okay? Or?
Yes, it's all
okay. So cool. So yes, Gorgias. So first, my name is Louis. So sorry again for the technical problem. It's a new platform for webinars, but thank you so much for being here. And yes, my name is Louis. I'm Senior Partner Manager at Gorgias. And yes, Gorgias, who we are a help desk and live chat solution for e-commerce. And we gather all your communication channel in one single platform: email, live chat, phone, Facebook, Instagram, etc. And we can work with big companies such as Steve Madden, Netflix, Decathlon, but also small websites and entrepreneurs, because yes, today we have 3 integrations: Shopify, Magento, and BigCommerce, and all our integrations are plug and play. So you can be up and running in a few hours. And today we're going to talk about customer service and how to have an amazing customer service strategy. So it's interesting because most of the time when we talk about customer service, we think about shipping status, refund, and cancellation. There are important questions, but it's just one part of the customer service strategy. And today, so as you might know it, and we talk about it with GQ, customers want an excellent customer service. So yes, 80% of shoppers want a personalized experience. I spent maybe 300 euros on your website. I don't want to have an automated answer. But in the meantime, 90% of customers want an immediate response. So it's interesting. So because today, what's going to be important? So today we will answer the following question: how can e-commerce business deliver exceptional customer experiences? Are more shoppers shift online with increased traffic and inquiries? And the answer is simple. The answer today is to find the right balance between automation and personalization. It's the key for a successful customer service strategy. So first step before segmentation and before automation and personalization is segmentation. Segmentation is the first thing to set up with your customer service platform. So you need to be able to segment by topics, communication channels, languages. And this way, if in 1 month, 2 months, you are able to segment between 80 and 90% of your customer requests, then you will be able to talk about personalization and automation. Just to give you an example, at Gorgias, we have 6,000 customers, and I would say between 40 and 50% of these customer requests are about shipping status, refund, and cancellation. So all these repetitive questions, you can automate them or decrease resolution time on all these repetitive questions. This way, you can spend much more time on the other questions. So yes, a good example is the chatbot self-server. It's something we created at Gorgias. And thanks to this chatbot self-server, you can automate all the questions such as, where is my order? Which is like a very important question today. Now, personalization. So as I said before, I spend maybe 300 euros or 300 pounds on your website. I send you a customer request. I will wait 1 day, 2 days. I will have a messages without any personalization is going to be very disappointing for me as a customer. That's why personalization is very important. But it's important to be able to personalize quickly. And that's why at Gorgias, we allow our customers to create macros with, for example, Shopify information inside. This way, in 1 click, you are able to send an information with all the information. And here we have a good example. So let's imagine, here you have an example of macro with Shopify information inside. So in 1 click, you have an email ready to send. Now, when we talk about customer service, what is important is to understand what your customers are asking. Because we talk about shipping status, refund, and cancellation, but there are a lot of other topics. Because today's your customers are everywhere. Email is a very important communication channel. Social media, chat. And if we take the example of social media, you will have emojis, comments, questions on the product. And that's why segmentation is very important. And at Gorgias, we have a machine learning to be able to segment all your customer requests by topics. So refund or bad comments, positive comments, feedback, etc. And this way, you will be able to decrease resolution time on all these questions. And as an example, we have a use case. So when you receive a new customer request, it's very important to know who you are talking with. And that's why at Gorgias, a lot of our customers use use like rules to automate this tagging. And here we have an example. When a customer spends for more than 1,000 euros on Shopify, or if this customer spends for more than 5 times on my website, I want you to tag this customer as a VIP customer. And this way, maybe you will be able to have a different strategy with your VIP customers. Now, automation. So automation is very important for customer service, and it's always a tricky topic, because if you automate everything, it's going to be obvious for your customers and prospects. So if we take the example of the question such as, where is my order? It's very easy to automate this question on the chat, email, and even social media. So here you have an example of a rule to automate all these questions, such as, where is my order? So when the intent is shipping status, and if the order was created less than 20 days ago, because if it's more than 20 days ago, maybe we need a human agent, then I want you to send this macro to the customer. Now, so what time is it? It's 5 p.m. my time, so 4 p.m. In the UK. To finish with, I just want to talk about social media, because today, when we talk about customer service, we think about the chat, we think about emails, but social media is the best way to create a community for your brand. And as an example, on social media, most of the time, you have 3 categories of messages: positive comments, negative comments, and questions. And it's very important to tag your negative comments, because most of the time merchants spend a lot of money on social media, and there is not a real strategy to answer all the comments. So if you are able to tag all the negative comments, because today everybody has negative comments on social media, you will be able to be much more reactive and proactive with your negative comments. So yes, so yes, now I just want to spend a few minutes for the Q&A. So yes, for sure. Again, we are very sorry for the technical problem. Life is not life without surprises like that. And yes, so guys, yes, do you have any questions for GQ, James, or me? Maybe it was very clear for everybody. But yes, first, we will send a follow-up email with all the information. If you have any question on Gorgias, you can reach out to me on louisl@gorgias.com. Maybe James and Chidi, you can send your email address as well. So Kim, is it a question for GQ, James, or me? Okay. So yes, so we have a few customers in this vertical, like pharmacy, for examples. So yes, as long as the customers is on Shopify, Magento, or BigCommerce, we are a good fit. And yes, we have a few customers in this vertical. To be transparent, today most of our customers are in the fashion or in the fashion vertical, but we have customers in this vertical. GQ, if you.
No, I would say, yeah, it's also mainly focused on e-commerce, but I guess, when you're talking about medical companies, what are you what are they dealing with, or what's the what's the setup look like? Perhaps I guess you have some questions centered around that area.
So maybe we can wait, and maybe you can move to the other question.
Yeah, sure.
Because yes, AB. So James, we have a question for you. So
Yeah, I can see the question. Yeah. So from Abby, if you're not launching a new brand, do you recommend having a full loyalty program built out when you launch, even if you may not have many customers right away? So it really depends on your focus. I think you don't necessarily need a full service loyalty program straight away if your focus is acquisition. But I think regardless of whether you go for a full all swinging or dancing loyalty program at the beginning, you're still making assumptions about your customers. So that final point that we made, which was around always be iterating, is absolutely vital, especially when you're just launching. I can guarantee you, if you came on board with LoyaltyLion and launched next month, the program you would have in 12 months' time would not be the same, 100%, and we would advise you on that. But to answer your specific question, it really depends. If your focus is on acquisition, then no. You would need a smaller program. If your focus is predominantly on retention, then we would advise something more sophisticated.
James, do you mind if I ask a follow-up question to that at all?
Of course, yeah.
Would you advise, so where brands are starting up very early on, and would you advise them that they add their early adopters of their products as VIP, I guess, VIP customers within their loyalty program to be net promoters of the business, I suppose?
Well, yeah, I mean, if they are your most important customers, the ones who showed early engagement, you're probably almost certainly your evangelists, more so than your advocates. They're the ones who adore your platform and your program. So yeah, they should be VIPs, 100%.
So yes, so Alison. So yes, you came back to Emily. So great. So yes, maybe so we can wait for a few questions, but it's also time to share the surprise. So I would just choose someone randomly. So I'm just going to download the list. And I'm just going to download the list. This way it will be random. So the winner is, I just want to use the random function in Excel, and yes, the winner is Emily Obara. So Emily, you won a pair of AirPods. So please, if you can send me I will send you. Congratulations. So yes, I will send you an email. Where are you based, Emily? Southern California. Okay, so lucky you. and yes, I will send you your surprise. Thank you so much for being here today. So Giovanna send another question for you, James.
Mm-hmm. Suggestions for KPIs related to the LR program. So yeah, really good question. It depends on what stage you're at. If you're at a fairly early stage, you look at performance related KPIs. So that's engagement. And that is the number of purchases made using a reward, the number of redeeming members. For context, we say LoyaltyLion segments customers into 4 buckets: guests, members, redeeming members, and non-redeeming members. Redeeming members are the ones who are engaging with your brand. So you want to see engagement. So people redeeming rewards, people creating accounts, and then post kind of the first 3 to 6 month phase when people are engaged, then you're looking at the LTV. So primarily within the first 12 months, that is repeat purchase rate. It should be between 50 and 164% above the baseline based on the average of our top 1,000 performing clients. So ongoing, you're looking at LTV of your customer. Initially, you're looking at engagement. And Joanna, if you want to contact our support team, we're able to give you more metrics as well.
So So thanks, Giovanna, for your questions. So James, definitely you have a lot of questions today.
I may have one more, Louis. Oh.
Okay.
James, in your opinion and from your experience, how important is it to have the two-way conversation with your customers in order to increase that loyalty and retention of customers?
Well, I mean, sometimes it's not feasible, right? If you've got thousands of customers to have sort of available support, especially if you're a scale-up brand who are scaling up, support always is not always the priority for fast growth CEOs or fast growth brands. But it is important to have the perception of a dialogue, so that we said the way that you differentiate yourself from the Amazons of this world is by providing that personal touch and that brand which is engaged heavily with your the brand which is aligned with the customer's values. And so that is a dialogue in itself. And I think it is absolutely vital to maintain that dialogue.
Thank you.
So I think there is a question for me from Leah. To who may be applicable? Would advise for a brand who has an established e-commerce store but still using solely phone and direct email customer service ticketing system, but with only one member of staff? We want to ensure that we spend more on one system if you have small staff. So it's a very good question, because today, to be honest, your customers are everywhere. So you use phone, you use email, but chat, it depends, because chat is an interesting topic. If you make the decision to set up a chat on your website, it means you have the people behind to answer all the questions. And that's why you can work with agencies like LTV Plus to be able to use the chat, because the chat today is one of the best way to drive sales for your business. Because I'm on your website, I have questions, and I'm ready to add a credit card if I have all my questions. If you have a chat and if I ask you a question, I wait 1 to 5 minutes, there is a high chance I will go back to Google to find a competitor. So yes, chat is very interesting, but also social media, because your customers are everywhere. And yes, if you have a D2C, I don't know in which vertical you are, but customer service is great for sure to answer all the questions, but it's also about how you can create a community for your brand. So it's great to be email is the first communication channel for our customers, but it's very important to be also on social media, phone. You have a phone solution, chat. If you have people behind to be able to answer all the chat, the question on the chat. Maybe GQ, actually, you want to add something?
Yeah, so what I'd say is, like you mentioned, you only have one member of staff that's, monitoring the customer service right now. So you probably want to make sure that you have a help desk that is allowing you to connect your phone, email systems. And as Louis has mentioned about other forms of communication, the sooner you adopt an omni-channel approach, that allows your customers to get to the same person, but through different ways to do so, right? And Chile has talked a little bit about SMS as well, and we see that that's coming through quite a bit. But I think the idea here is that we like to think of agents as being like superheroes, right? The more you can equip them with different kinds of technologies and abilities, that gives them a better opportunity to figure out what aspects of technology can you automate, so that your one agent, for example, could just focus on on the more complex inquiries that do come through, right? And so that's a really good way to look at it. But I think you can always test out certain channels as they go, as like maybe 1 or 2 days of tests, just to see how many inquiries would come through those different channels, like social media, for example. Because we've seen, for example, like if I were to contact a brand through Facebook and then hit them up in chat to continue, or email about the same inquiry, but then you see it's disjointed because the conversation is not connected, that doesn't really give really good customer experience overall. So look at an omni-channel setup, and also consider and see what else you can do to equip your agent, and then from there maybe consider if it makes sense to have a scalable team that's able to take on the more busier days, as you mentioned, versus the quieter days.
And thank you, Leah. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact GQ and I, because we have a lot of mutual customers, and we are working together to make sure they are able to be everywhere. and nice emoji GQ. So customer service mood, unicorn. And yes, Cherry, very interesting questions. How do you differentiate yourself from the Amazons of the world? So if I understand well the question, so yes, so the goal of a solution such as Gorgias, LoyaltyLion, or to work with an agency like LTV Plus is to be able to provide the same experience as Amazon, because Amazon is the biggest website. They have an excellent customer service. But to be honest, as a customer, so I'm aware all the websites are not like Amazon, but 2 weeks before Christmas, if I want to buy something, I won't really make the difference between Amazon and the other website. I want the same customer service experience. If I send you a customer request, I don't want my answer in 1 week or 2 weeks with maybe, I don't know. I want an answer in 1 day or in a few hours. So yes, that's why today it's very important to have like a good tech stack to be able to provide an excellent experience on your website before and after the purchase, and to work also with agencies to be able to have the bandwidth to be able to provide the best experience. So James, GQ, Chili, I don't know if you want to add something.
Yeah, I think maybe not necessarily from a customer service standpoint, but from a customer experience standpoint, your advantage and Amazon's disadvantage is that you have a brand which people can identify with. It's not a monolith. It's not a large corporation. Your power is your brand, and you exemplify that and you typify that through your customer service experience, but also through your marketing, through the way that you engage with your customers in a one-to-one and one-to-many approach, the rewards you offer, the rules you provide, the product offering you have. So your advantage is that you're smaller, you're agile, and you have complete control of the brand you display to your consumer.
So yes, so I don't know if if you have more questions, for sure, don't hesitate to reach out to us. So yes, I don't think we have more questions today. So Emily, so yes, I will contact you to send you this little surprise from LTV Plus, LoyaltyLion, and Gorgias. Sorry again for the technical problem. It's live, it's a new platform, but it was very great to have this talk with you today. Thank you so much, James, for your presentation. GQ, Chili, thank you so much for being here. Chili, maybe in September I will be able to come to the UK. Suspense, so I will let you know.
It'd be great to have you.
And yes, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us. And I wish you a lovely summer. And yes, thank you, Adam. Thank you, Giovanna. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Daria. And
Bye.
see you.
Great summer, guys. If you have summer where you are. Peace.
Peace. And unicorn emoji.
Yeah, unicorns everywhere.
Unicorn everywhere. In all the communication channels.
Exactly. That's on our side. Anyway. All right, you guys take care. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys.